Elder brothers, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Be Grit here. Back in 93, 94 time frame, that we had a center called New Warrior Memphis. And during that time frame, a man named Al Lewis brought a lot of black men through that particular area. Brought in so many that there were a couple of weekends that were almost entirely black men. What happened dynamically is that as more black men got involved in the organization, this dynamic of racial insecurity occurred, meaning as more black men got involved, white men stopped showing up. Eventually, there was a conflict that occurred, and out of that conflict came a split between white and black men. That split lasted for 10 years, from 95 to 2005. In a town, Memphis, in which one of the biggest civil rights leaders had been assassinated, Martin Luther King. So I'm saying that you can get a flavor of the sense of racial tension that has existed and always will exist in Memphis. Now, this organization was unprepared for these type of dynamics, had great intentions, but absolutely no skills for being able to work with these type of situations, these type of conflicts. Now, here we are, 2023, many years later, and still we are challenged with the same concepts. So I mention all this to you because I know this particular group has had a desire to be very diverse, and it has been challenged in reaching that. And you've heard me say several times, if this dynamic keeps occurring, this is what's going to stop you from being diverse. What it all comes down to is how we all choose to treat each other. Is what we are doing congruent with our values, with our principles, with how we say we wish to show up? Too many times here in MKP, a solution to anything is social exclusion. Somebody gets excluded from a listserv, somebody gets excluded from a center, somebody gets excluded from being a part of a weekend. This social exclusion is occurring up and down throughout the network, all the way up to the board of directors. It's occurring. The previous chairman has been excluded because of some silly conflict that he involved himself in a committee. Currently, another member of the board of directors is on sabbatical for 3 months because of a conflict that came up again in the board of directors. So this social exclusion as a solution is occurring far too often. And what is being missed is the work, what we say we are about, the practice and the usage of the tools that we have and that we're taught, and that we remind ourselves to do in the midst of a conflict. Unfortunately, what happens is that conflict occurs and it gets turned into an us versus them scenario. Men don't have the skills to work with conflicts, so they just leave. The last time I was on a call, conflict came up, and then at the end of it, there were only 3 of us on the call. Me, Brian Barr, and this other fellow who happened to be his first time facilitating, Michael, I don't know his last name. All that leaving of the call represents abandonment. For what purpose? My main point in doing this video is to point out, if you wish to achieve this goal of diversity within the elders group, skill sets must be learned. The desire to work through issues must be there. Things are going to come up. We're men. It's not something that can be pointed to any one person. It's how we are. You see that with the appropriations issue. You see it with things going on at the board of directors level. things will come up. The quality of how we interact and work with these things will determine how successful we are at reaching these goals of diversity within group. So I'm hoping that's clear. Okay, it's all about how we choose to treat each other and to work with each other. And social exclusion, throw somebody out of the group, that is not a solution. Now, let's just nail some things right now. What was going on between Jerry Green and I? It's the usual two male macho egos clashing. That's all it is. Jerry feeling his position, how he sees himself positioned in this group, being threatened by me. Vice versa. And that's all it is. And it's all it has to be worked with in terms of using the tools. If both if both men wish to work the issue. What was going on with Judah and me? I don't know. Only Judah can explain that. No one has any right to demand or tell me that I have to change what I write to make them happy. There's no policy in this company, in this organization, that says I have to use I versus we. And even if there were, I still wouldn't do it. So Judah's not getting his way. So what? That's the end of the world? No, it's not. It's just an email. The point being, how we all choose to work with each other reflects our skill sets and whether we have the goals to be a group for all men. The choices are ours. These are just shadows that I'm highlighting, and that's what we are about in this organization, taking a look at our shadows. This weekend is about looking at the shadow, those parts of ourselves that we hide, repress, and deny. That's what we say on the weekend. We should never feel or be afraid to hear or read about shadows. It's not the end of the world. Those of us who are choosing to be in a leadership position, number one, we should always have the point of view of we are servant leaders. Number two, no matter what you do, you will always have your supporters and your detractors. You will have the compliments and the complaints. Accept both. We should always accept both and work with both. Never going to be a situation of I only want to hear compliments and I don't want to hear any complaints. No, that's ego nonsense. We accept both and we work with both. And we identify where we may be lacking in skills and hopefully give ourselves space to learn new skills, to be in better and deeper connection with our brothers. So I'm saying this so that we can all be better and deeper connection with each other. I could just have easily have just left and never said anything. I'm choosing not to do that. I hope you all understand. Peace out.